Now, we can discuss about nuclear reactors as controlled chain reaction is applied in nuclear reactor. Nuclear reactors are useful in producing electricity. A nuclear reactor is an arrangement to generate electricity which make use of controlled nuclear fission reaction. Okay, and you know this is the pictorial representation of a fission reaction. When a neutron hits the target nucleus, two daughter nuclei, and along with the daughter nuclei, three neutrons are generated. Now, what are the requirements for controlled nuclear fission in reactor? First is the neutrons to be slowed down. Neutrons are slowed down by using moderators. Moderators are lighter nuclei which slow down fast-moving neutrons by elastic collision. Commonly used moderators are water, heavy water, graphite. Okay, so what are the important parts of a nuclear reactor? First is the fast-moving neutrons need to be slowed down. Then only the reaction can be controlled. And for that, we will use a agency called moderators, and moderators are some lighter nuclei which slow down the fast moving neutrons by elastic collision. Okay, because when this lighter nuclei are present, whenever the fast moving neutrons hit with this or collide with this lighter nuclei, their speed is reduced. Thus the neutrons can be slowed down. And commonly used moderators are water, heavy water, graphite. Then, consequence of use of moderators. When moderators are used, multiplication factor of neutrons increases because more and more neutrons will be capable to produce fission reaction. Okay, so whenever the fast moving neutrons are slowed down, more and more neutrons will be capable to induce fission reaction. So the number of neutrons produced in each generation will increase, thus multiplication factor will also increase. When a neutron hits a target nucleus along with the daughter nuclei, it produces three neutrons. So these three neutrons are highly energetic, but they need to be slowed down so they can hit the target nucleus. As a result, high multiplication factor results in uncontrolled chain reaction. Isn't it? So this is the same pictorial representation. We had already discussed this. So what happens? Excess neutrons to be absorbed. Okay, so here excess neutrons need to be absorbed. So for that, we use another agency which is known as control rods. Okay, so an uncontrolled chain reaction is wanted. As uncontrolled chain reaction is wanted, to absorb excess neutrons, control rods are used. These control rods are inserted in the core of nuclear reactor. And control rods are capable of initiating and stopping the nuclear reaction. Okay, whenever the control rods are removed or whenever they are taken out of the reactor, it will initiate the reaction, and whenever the control rods are inserted in the nuclear reactor, nuclear reaction is stopped. As they absorb all the excess neutrons, there are no neutrons left to start the reaction. So control rods are made up of neutron absorbing materials. They decrease the multiplication factor of neutrons to a very small value. Thus the chain reaction is controlled. Commonly used control rod is cadmium rods. So the material used for making control rod is cadmium. Cadmium can absorb the neutrons. Okay, so these are some control rods. So here control rods is inserted into the reactor. So whenever control rods is inserted into the reaction is stopped. Here control rods are taken out, and whenever control rods are taken out, here neutrons can hit with the uranium nuclei. So this rectangular bars indicate the uranium nuclei. So whenever control rods are inserted, neutrons produced here in the first stage of fission cannot cross the rod and hit the second uranium rod. Okay, so here whenever the control rods are removed, here neutron comes and hit the first uranium rod. Neutrons are produced in this fission, and these neutrons can hit the second uranium rod. So the reaction will go on like that. So control rods can absorb the neutrons and stop the reaction. Now construction of nuclear reactor. The core of the nuclear reactor consists of uranium in the form of cylindrical rods. So we had already seen the uranium rods. Okay, so here this orange color rectangular bar indicates the uranium rods. They are in the form of cylindrical rods. These rods are dipped inside a liquid which is the moderator. And you know what is the purpose of moderator? It slows down the fast moving neutrons. Whenever one neutron strikes this uranium rod, nuclear fission reaction starts and 3 fast moving neutrons are produced. Because of the moderator, these 3 neutrons undergo elastic collision. As a result, they are slowed down before they strike the second rod. The geometry of the core is such that only 1 out of 3 neutrons which are emitted strike the next rod, making the reaction a controlled one. When the control rods are inserted inside, they will absorb all the extra neutrons since there are no neutrons to initiate the nuclear fission, and nuclear fission reaction will stop. Large amount of energy is also released in the core. In order to extract the energy from the core, water at very high pressure is passed through it. As hot water passes through it, produces steam in the steam generators. This steam is used to run the turbines, which in turn produce electricity. So this process will keep on continuing till the uranium on the rods does not get over. Then the rods have to be replaced in the nuclear reactor. So these uranium rods need to be replaced. Okay. What are the advantages of nuclear reactor, or what are the advantages of extracting energy from a nuclear reactor? First one is that energy released is extremely large, and also we need uranium fuel only in extremely small quantity. Uranium is the fuel here, and that fuel is required only in extremely small quantity. And what are the disadvantages? The spent fuel is highly radioactive and extremely hazardous to all life forms. So the waste disposal of this nuclear reactor, that means the nuclear waste disposal, is a big issue. Lots of radioactive waste are getting accumulated from the nuclear reactor, and their waste disposal is becoming a big issue. Okay, so this is the diagrammatic representation of the nuclear reactor. So you can see some rods here, that means uranium rods here, and also this black lines indicate the control rods, and it is dipped in the moderator. And this moderator slows down the neutrons and initiate the nuclear reaction, and geometry of the rod is such that the reaction is taking place in a controlled manner, and the water at high pressure is circulating throughout the reactor core. So this water takes away the high amount of heat which is generated in this core due to the nuclear fission reaction. And whenever water takes away this high amount of it, it becomes steam, and that steam rotates the turbines, and when the turbines get rotated, energy is steam generator energy is produced. That means electrical energy is produced, and that electrical energy is supplied. Okay. Then this is another type of nuclear reaction, that is nuclear fusion. We had already discussed nuclear energy can be harnessed in 2 ways, nuclear fission and nuclear fusion. So we had discussed about nuclear fission. 2 types of nuclear fission reaction is the controlled chain reaction and uncontrolled chain reaction. Uncontrolled chain reaction is used in making of atom bombs. Controlled chain reaction is used in nuclear reactor in order to produce electricity. And another type of nuclear reaction is nuclear fusion. So what is fusion? It is the combining of 2 lighter nuclei to form a heavier nucleus. That is fusion. And in this process, huge amount of energy is released. Temperature at which the protons would have enough energy to overcome the Coulomb's barrier is very high. So in order for the nuclear fusion reaction to occur, high temperature is required, and such high temperature is not observed on the Earth's surface. We need to make that atmosphere in a lab. Okay, only under such high temperature conditions, the 2 lighter nuclei can be combined by overcoming their repulsive force, Coulomb's repulsion. Okay. So increasing the temperature of the material until the particles have enough energy due to their thermal motion alone to overcome the Coulomb barrier. We must increase the temperature of that material. That is thermonuclear fusion. So for thermonuclear fusion, extreme conditions of temperature and pressure are required. High temperature and pressure are required. An example of thermonuclear fusion is generation of energy in stars. So the thermonuclear fusion can be observed in stars. Only in that cases, high temperature and high pressure is possible. From the sun, we get large amount of energy, and this energy generated due to thermonuclear fusion. That is the reaction taking place in the sun. So what are the different steps in the thermonuclear fusion? In sun, the energy generation is a multi-step process. There are total 4 steps involved in the energy generation inside the sun. Step 1, 1H1, that means a proton, plus another proton, 1H1. So 2 protons combine to form 1H2, which is a deuteron, plus E plus, which is positron, plus nu, this is nu, not V, this is nu, neutrino, plus 0.42 mega electron volt. Okay, so when 2 protons are combined, we get 1 deuteron, 1 positron, 1 neutrino, and 0.42 mega electron volt. So positron is charge plus. Okay. Then step 2. In the second stage, positron and electron will combine to form gamma rays. Along with that, energy is released. Energy of 1.02 mega electron volt is released. And what is step 3? In step 3, deuteron, which is produced in the first stage, deuteron plus proton. That means deuteron and proton combine to form helium 2,3. Helium plus gamma rays plus 5.49 mega electron volt. That is the third step, and which is the fourth step. In step 4, 2 helium nuclei, H, this is actually He. Okay. So here there is a mistake in step 4, children, that is helium. Okay, not just H, it is He. So it is rewritten here He23 plus He23. That means 2 helium nuclei combine to form helium nucleus 2 He4 plus 1H1, which is a proton, plus 1H1 again a proton, plus 12.86 mega electron volt energy. Okay, so these are the 4 steps, and in here step 1, step 2 and step 3 occurs twice. It occurred 2 times in the sun, and step 4 occurs only once in the sun. Okay. Now, when all the above reactions, that means step 1, step 2, step 3 and step 4 are combined together, then 4 hydrogen atoms combine to form a helium atom with the release of 26.7 mega electron volt of energy. So that is the final reaction. 4 proton. Okay, that means 4 hydrogen atoms combine to form a helium atom with the release of 26.7 mega electron volt of energy. Along with that, 6 gamma and 2 neutrinos are also produced. Okay, so neutrinos are the elementary particles, and this reaction is also known as proton-proton cycle because this process starts with protons, and that proton-proton cycle is shown diagrammatically here. Okay, you can just go through it. You can just take the reaction and compare the reaction with this figure. Okay, children. So this is the final reaction. You must remember this final reaction also, the 4 different steps in the proton-proton cycle. So the energy generation in sun is due to thermonuclear fusion, and thermonuclear fusion is a multi-step process. It occurs in 4 stages, and among that 4 stages, the first 3 stages occurs twice, and the 4th stage occurs only once in the sun. And high temperature and pressure is required for the thermonuclear fusion reaction to occur. Okay. So with this, I am concluding this chapter. Notes of the topic and YouTube video have been uploaded. Obviously, some more portions are there in this chapter, but as a part of syllabus reduction, that portions have been deleted. Okay, so no need to study rest of the portions. We will meet in the next session. Till then, take care all of you. Stay home, stay safe. Thank you.